So I had ethanol as my biofuel. It's ethyl alcohol created through fermentation of starchy plants. I put the chemical formula and the structure is located on the right. It's colorless and flammable and it's a liquid. It's an additive in gasoline. It's created through, well, at first the plant has to go through photosynthesis to create starch. So basically it goes through a light cycle, which is in the yellow, and a independent light cycle, which is in purple. And then the greenish color is something it does outside of all that. So for the light cycle, CO2 and H2O enter the plant. The light hits photosystem 2 and splits the water. So the electrons get taken through the electron transport chain all the way to photosystem 1, where NAD plus is converted to NADH. And then the Calvin cycle begins with fixation, and it takes CO2 and some enzymes to form 2,3-PGA. And then in the reduction phase, PGA is reduced to G3P because the PGA gains the electrons. And then the next step is regeneration, where G3P are transported somewhere for other use. Sometimes some of them are, and then some regenerate an enzyme, and then after 6 turns, 2 G3P molecules are combined to create glucose, and then outside of photosynthesis, glucose are linked through polymerization to create starches. How is ethanol made? Alcohol fermentation at the cellular level. So glycolysis creates pyruvate, and it can either go to fermentation or respiration depending on oxygen. So after glycolysis, the NAD regeneration pyruvate turns to acetaldehyde, and there's 2 NAD inputted, and the outputs are the 2-ethanol, which is super important, and then NAD plus in carbon dioxide. Developmental status of ethanol. Ethanol has been around for a really long time. It's been developed for about 28 years and it's very available, but there is research going into using cellulose plants to create ethanol instead of just starchy plants. The impacts of biofuel economically, it increases crop prices and food prices, because if we're not using crops for food, it has to go somewhere else, so it'll limit the amount of food we have. It reduces the transport of other oils. So since it can be created in the U.S., it lowers the price, so we don't have to pay import taxes. It could also be sustainable if we make it here. All right, and the carbon footprint is it's less carbon emissions than other options of fuel, and it can lower the life cycle of greenhouse gases over 3 decades. Promoting biofuel, it's communicated through policies. Governments create incentives such as tax breaks to encourage biofuel use, and also funding. And then they also provide grants to promote research of biofuels and how to make it more effective or create it from different types of plants. Based on the information, I think we should implement biofuel because it's good for the environment. Government should promote companies to buy land and grow crops specifically for biofuel and have facilities used to distill biofuel in the U.S. by creating a tax break for them and giving them an incentive, and then utilizing biofuel over other resources because it's renewable, it helps the environment, and it's good for the economy. And then these are my works cited. Thank you guys.